Real Talk with Ed and Eric. I'm your guest host, Pastor Ed King.
I'm Eric B.
And our continuous special guest is
Milagro Spencer.
This is part 2 of a program that we started. So hopefully you've been enjoying the program. Hopefully it's been a blessing to your life. We just, we're 3 men, that love God, trying to figure out life. Last week we got into some interesting subjects last week. One of the things about some of the things, our concern is the things that are happening with our youth in our community and ways that we can help them better themselves, keep themselves out of trouble, keep themselves alive through from gang violence. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. But Milagro took us last week into the mindset of what kids are experiencing in their communities, right? Now, all of us here, we're 3 different individuals. We come from 3 different backgrounds. We're not saying that we agree with everything that's being said by each other, but what we have committed to is to listening to each other and hearing one another out. And then we'll fight off air. But for the most part, for those of you that are, when you hear something and that you have questions about it, that you kind of want to say, hey, Mr. Eric, explain that a little bit more, or Mr. Milagro, explain that a little bit more. We will have a website put up on the screen where you can email us to answer some of those questions, and we'll try to do the best that we can to respond to a lot of those things. So once again, welcome to the program. Last week, we left off on mindset and the thought of growing up in the community and why kids feel like they're the need to be a tough guy. I heard a story about an elementary kid bullying kids in his school, right? And I'm looking at this little kid, and the little dude he couldn't have been no more than this tall. Why is he cussing the teachers out? One of the teachers who happened to be a friend of mine, she said they cussed the teachers out. They called the parents to come get the kid. The parents are cussing the teacher out. And I'm not saying that this is true in every school or every situation. Is. But my thought was, okay, I remember the one time I got in trouble at school and the teacher called my mom. My mom came up slipped and called my mom. I was clowning in the classroom, first class clowning. And then somebody said, oh, who's that? So there's somebody's mom is at the door. And there it was. My mother was standing at the door, and for the sake of television, I can't say exactly what she said, but it was in the words like, I am going to blank, 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 blank when you get home.
Reorient yourself.
And so when I got home that night, she was true to her word. I think I got probably a life-altering, whatever you want to call it.
Interaction.
But fast forward to today. We closed off, you said about the aggression of kids and aggression of people and that mindset. I'm not saying I agree with it all, but that mindset of why kids feel like they have to be tough. You said when they come from nothing, this is the only thing they got. Explain that a little bit more.
It's your only shield of protection. And I mean, who want to be bullied? Who want to be picked on? Everybody want to fit in.
Right.
So if I can't fit in with y'all with the clothes, I don't look the part, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the most athletic, well, I can hit hard.
Okay.
And you don't want to take that.
So I can understand that. Maybe you say, okay, Pastor King, you're a grandpa now. I can understand that as a teenager, but you're a 35-year-old man now. Why do you feel like as a 35-year-old man that you have to go around, or you know what I mean?
So I ask y'all a question. Do you think age make you grown? Because I know some 50-year-old kids.
Oh, I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
Most of these people, they be stuck in high school. They're 40,
you talking about the
50.
mindset.
Yeah, they still worry about the new clothes, the new shoes. Man, you got kids. Why don't you do that for them?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But they still trying to be popular.
Right.
Look at them. I mean, the worst problem in it, like you said about the teachers, the worst problem in the black community now, we don't have grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
They on TikTok. They doing the same thing the kids doing.
I heard somebody else say that.
The grandma's naked. The grandma's at the club.
Like grandma, that would not be.
I mean, you couldn't tell the mom from the grandma from the daughter.
Okay, why do you think that?
They all go to the club together.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, I couldn't answer that. And I'll tell y'all what, I think people put too much pressure on the black man. I don't think the black man control anything. I think women have all the power.
Okay, we're going to deal with that. We're going to put a disclaimer because we want to stay married. But I want to hear about that. But before we get to that part, that's a whole 3 shows within itself.
At least, yeah. Yeah.
The gang life. You grow up. I have to be tough. I have to get out here. Well, back in the day, there was this. It's not that anymore. Explain to us and our viewers, why do I have to watch my 11, 12, 13-year-old son? Because of this
No
stuff?
problem. And see, that's what a lot of people imagery is. That's what a lot of people think about the gang. Let me ask you something. If I harm somebody in your family, would you want to harm me or want something done to me? Justice for that?
Yes.
Well, the gang is our family. If we don't have a dad, we don't have an uncle. We always had our neighborhood, so it's just it's really a people. Y'all view it as a gang, we view it as family. So kill my brother. What you think I'm gonna do to you?
Yeah.
That's the mindset you said.
And that was
nice.
probably one of the most illuminating aspects of Back with the Words from the Hood when Frank Lucas and Pastor Ty were doing that, is they spent a lot of time talking about, and I actually played that, some of that for some friends, in the law enforcement area, and then talking to some of the individuals from law enforcement that are really involved in that area. Some of them really understand that difference and how, gang doesn't equal bad, but it's the actions that do, right? And I'm not speaking for, my own anecdotal conversations with people, right? But yeah, it was the switch that flipped for me, and back when I had talked to Pastor Ty about it was on those couple episodes where Frank Lucas just went into all of that. It's like, no, family. I mean, it's amazing because that translates everywhere, right? And it is really hard for people to say, yeah, but the outcome is horrible, right? Yeah, none of our family, and again, I'm going to use a lot of generalities in stuff because I feel like in some ways I'm representing a different constituency in the conversation. But, none of our families go around, shooting in retaliation. Well, yeah, okay. But we could probably talk for an hour about why those reasons are, right? And you can talk about the legal system and talk about other things, and there's a lot to that. But yeah, family. If you're able to sneak out and do everything at 12 or whatever, right? You and your friends, if somebody's coming after you, I mean, all you can do is protect each other. And I mean, do you feel
See,
more?
I hate the way y'all put that on it. Like you could sneak out. No, you could have snuck out too.
No,
Anybody could sneak out. It's not a permission thing.
We did.
It's just
we were home by 11.
Some boys are just bolder.
Yeah.
We're bolder, and it's because of our environment.
Yeah.
So you say, okay. You said sneak out versus that's just walking out.
No. We ain't nobody just walking out. We all come up. We all got the switch. We all got the belt. We got the stitching cord. I mean, have you got a whooped with a stitching cord getting out of, and they make you get in the bath first, and then hit you? Slavery. But it's just tough, man. Once you got beat so much, what more can you do to me? Right. That become our mentality at 11. We've been getting the belt. We've been getting all that since 7.
I heard a guy from the youth prison. He said that same thing. He said that his grandma would tell him not to do certain things, but after a while, he said he would just do what he wanted.
Yeah, you got numb to the whooping. What you gonna hit me with?
Okay, but now this is where I'm gonna push back a little bit here. I believe all of what you're saying is true. The mindset of that is why we do what we do. Talking to the young men in prison, they say the exact same thing. But we cannot ignore certain actions bring certain consequences, right? It does. If I'm the tough guy, right? If I feel like if I feel like I don't have nothing, and because I don't have nothing, I have to exercise my dominance over any given situation. Okay, number one, now I'm putting somebody else's life in danger. I'm putting my own life in danger. And let's be real, man, this is just how it goes. You may whoop 12 people this week, but on that 13th one, you're going to get whooped. Or another way to say it is I can shoot at whoever I'm shooting at. I can kill whoever I'm going to kill. It says you live by the sword, you also what? You die by the sword. But this is the point of what I'm trying to make here with that. I understand environment. I understand wishing that we had what others have and what we don't have. But when you say, okay, I get what you say, the gang is family stuff. Okay, I get that family stuff. But I want my pushback on that is this. At some point in time, if like my little brothers, for example, I'm the oldest of 6. this was just my mentality. If I was out there doing wrong, I'm doing wrong for me. I'm not pulling my little brother into my little brother can't. If I'm going to do a drive-by or a drug deal or whatever that is, I don't want my little brother because I love my little brother. If I don't care enough about myself to protect my own life, and I'll do what I do, and whatever the consequences are, that's what I get. But my brother can't come with me. I didn't let my brother come with me when we was doing dirt. Why? Because you my little brother, and I don't want you out here like that. Even though that was a poor witness, it was a bad example. In my own sick kind of way, I feel like it was my responsibility as his big brother to keep him away from all my drama. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but you said keep it real. And I don't feel like you doing that. Did that protect your little brother? Did your little brother not go out there and get into whatever?
Good point. Which I said sick way of thinking. He did,
and he didn't do it because of you.
But he didn't.
He wanted to be harder than you. Actually,
he did. That's true too. But I wasn't taking. But in my sick conscience of that thought, I wasn't taking. He wasn't going and doing it with me.
No.
If you did whatever it is you was doing. Yeah, I set a poor example, but no, in my sick
it wasn't even about your example. The environment led him that way. It wasn't nothing because of what you did.
Okay, good point. You said environment again. Back to that family thing. My question is this: at what point? Because when I see the young men in jail again, they say the same thing. Man, I'm here because I'm protecting my friends, and if I got out tomorrow, I'm going back to the hood. I'm gonna do the exact same thing again because I'm gonna protect my friends. Okay, and I had to remind them, and I say it in love, fellas, y'all sitting in prison. Where are your friends at? Fellas, and I'm just being real with you, man. Fellas, y'all sitting right here. Who's putting money on your books? Who's coming to visit you? Bottom line to it, who's taking care of your grandma and your parents and them while you're in here? Ain't nobody coming around seeing them and doing whatever.
I need y'all to quit looking at it as a gang and look at it as a family.
Okay, but
so right now, if your bills don't get paid, is that your whole family fault? And we could be like, look at you, Ed, you're homeless. Where your family at now? Where's your mom at now? That's what y'all saying?
No.
Look at it as a family and not as a gang. Because anybody will kill for their family.
So with that,
not true.
Most people.
No.
I said up there on Wednesday night, I heard Pastor Archie say he would kill for his family. I heard Shantae say she would kill for her family.
Right, but you have to understand the difference between if someone's breaking into your home,
right,
and you're defending your family,
killing your brother,
versus going out and doing premeditated revenge. Most people don't do that because most people have not accepted that as part of the world that they're comfortable in.
So you going to tell me about, that's how you view gangbanging?
No, I didn't say that at all. I didn't, no.
You're speaking about something you have no idea about.
All right, we're instituting our rule.
All right,
we are.
Okay.
Yeah, it was simply the statement. It was simply a statement that you said that every family is okay with killing.
No. I'm just saying most people I hear would say would kill for their family.
Okay.
I am not disagreeing that your familiarity. I'm just saying I know a lot of families that would not, after the fact, round up a bunch of folks and go retaliate.
That's not how it works. See, you speaking on something you don't know about. That's not how it works. I'm gonna tell you something that y'all don't know. Most gangs don't mess with each other. Like the whole gang, no, it's cliques inside of it.
Right.
Might be. We might have 500 members. I may only mess with 8 of them.
I get it. So that's all. Okay, that's
another
ramp of that.
What you don't know.
But let me ask you this, though. Okay, let me ask you this. If someone is breaking in my house and I see you breaking in my house and my kids and my wife is in that house, what do you think I'm going to do?
But what does the commandment say? I mean, y'all going to pick and choose when you use the Bible. Don't kill. Let them steal it.
We're going to get We're going to get into that later on down the road too.
That's getting into territory where you're sitting with some people who understand that a lot better than the average individual.
You said when somebody who understand gangs a lot better than the average.
Right,
Exactly.
Pause for a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing in real time
love.
3 men that love each other and totally disagree. Different perspectives, which I love. I love that.
Right.
But there are people out there that are watching, that are listening, and they want to hear. Okay, we say family. The bottom line to it, my son ain't coming home because he got killed out there in the street. Bottom line to it, we're tired of seeing grieving parents behind their teenage kids losing their lives for what? You ask yourself for what? Some people may say it's because of family. Some people may say whatever the reason is. I've been a pastor for 30 plus years, and when I got into this work, my thought would, hey, people are gonna get old, and I was gonna officiate their funerals, and 80-year, 90-year-old people. Man, no, 90% of the funerals that I've done have all been with people under the age of 20.
Yeah.
And as a father and as a grandfather, I will never be okay. I don't care how we got to this point. I will never be okay with that being my community. Why?
Right.
Because I have sons, I have nephews, I have grandsons, I have people that I love. It's like, okay, well I want to know, what can we do to penetrate some of this foolishness, right?
Right.
So it takes me back to, okay, I'm getting ahead of the story here. Let's slow down here a little bit. I'm trying to understand the mindset. Okay, when there's lack of parenting, we get all that. The Bible talks a lot about what happens to kids when they're left to themselves, right? Kids were never designed to be left to themselves, right? So we get that part. We get out here, okay, we talk about, okay, because there's no fathers at home, because there's a lack of community, people that care enough in the home, we say, okay, we hang out with people because we say, okay, they become our family. They look out for us. I get all of that. But okay, so let us up to this point. The bottom line at the end of the day, at what point in time am I going to say to myself about myself, I want to live. I don't want to have to look over my shoulder every time I go out of the house. I want to go to the park with my kids and my grandkids. I want to go to the movies with my woman. I want to be able to just live life without the fear of things that I've done coming back on me. You see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
All right.
Only one thing can make that happen. You gotta get old. You have to get 20. See, like you said, 20 years old. Man, I remember.
I like that.
I remember we wanted to die young. We didn't want to be old in our casket. We used to argue about who funerals would be the deepest. When you see so many dead bodies, and we're numb to that. You tell us such and such got killed. Man, we don't even, it don't even phase our day. We're not stopping to think about that. We don't care. It's normal to us.
That breaks my heart to hear that, man, because you're the second person that said that to me. Another, Tyrell Teeler said to me, he said, I've seen so many funerals of teenagers. I think he said he was up to 40.
Yeah.
He said he's numb to it. He said,
Man, you can't cry.
And his brother said the same thing. He said, man, I can't even cry anymore. Explain that part of it to us, man.
And you just, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It just becomes so normal.
Yeah.
What it is.
There's not grief if it's not disappointment in loss. So like grief comes out of loss. And if you're already expecting something to happen at some point and it happens all the time, so you're not entering into a relationship. Tell me if I'm off base here. You're not entering into a relationship with people expecting to have 40 years. You're entering a relationship with folks and like, man, as long as we're here, great. But a third of us are going to be gone to prison at some point. Another third of us are probably going to end up in a funeral at some point. And so there's not that deep of, oh, I expect 20 years from now, we're going to get together and go fishing or something, right? It is just, hey, it could happen anytime. And so therefore, when it happens, it's not a disappointment grief because
it is at
I mean, it's
first.
disappointment. I mean, I totally lost, but it's not that same kind of loss where it's like, oh man, they died too soon. Like will happen with the tragic, it's all tragic. But when it's unexpected, when it's not somebody, I don't know. I'm probably not doing a good job.
But
But
explain this to me.
It is that they die too soon. Sometimes it is like that, but sometimes we be realistic too. We know what he was doing.
right, yeah,
So, but some of them, it's like, man, he might have just jumped off the porch. He might have just. Some people die and they're just innocent bystanders. Like
Right.
they want to be down, but they not really down. Like
Right.
they still could
Yeah.
be pursuing school, whatever. But it's just you don't see a future in that life,
yeah.
and nobody wants to be a
Yeah,
80-year-old gang member. So why wouldn't we check out at 30?
So I got
It's a full career.
I got a question for you on this. Oh man, it breaks my heart to even think like this. With that mindset, and in reality, perception to some is reality. How do you hope for the future if you can't see yourself past.
That's my thing. They not. That's why I said time. Time. You could preach to somebody all day long. I'm telling you, this from 15 to 19, y'all could have talked, bought every verse y'all wanted. Man, I'm trying to get back to the block. Like I wouldn't have heard none of it. Like, yeah, you care about my life. How you gonna care about something I don't care about? So you say that.
Right.
Like I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If I ever wanted to commit suicide, I'm gonna get into it with the police. I want him to kill me. I know he's going to kill me. And guess what? Everybody gonna be. So even though I committed suicide, I still get to go out a hero to some. So people's gonna be arguing about the police killing me, not knowing.
It's
I
a
wanted
Hollywood
them to kill me.
I've heard that. I've heard some
Hollywood ending.
I've heard someone else say that too.
Yeah.
Milagro, that hopelessness, that despair on the hearts. I mean, I know where it came from. How have you experienced that?
I mean, it's
And
just
to the degree you feel comfortable, you don't have to share.
yeah, no.
We got about 5 minutes left.
I don't even know how to answer that. But just like them kids, like I would go in the youth center, I would go in the penitentiary. I could probably relate to each and every one of them. Stuff that y'all wouldn't understand. That's crazy. And man, I'm like, okay. Some of us, man, like I remember from 7 on. Visiting the penitentiary. Do you know what them doors opening up sound like to a kid? But do you know how many going
Me as an adult.
every weekend?
Right.
And you get used to that. By the time you 10, you used to that. So you looking, when you come up in generational incarceration,
Yeah.
man, them people make jail look fun. You see the pictures, everybody buff. So we think we go there, we get buff, we get
Right.
these stripes on. We're not scared of prison. So you
Right.
talk about, oh, you going to go to jail? Where? Sign me up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Because in life, you only scared of the unknown.
Right. Right.
If I've been to prison, you think, what's my second time?
Right.
What's my third time? Man, only reason why people even, I honestly think half the people put the Bible down if they could die and come back. We only scared of the unknown. Half of them only using that out of fear of going to hell. Well, what you just described about y'all building that school, man, I pictured heaven and I said, dang, I came from hell. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't have no fear of walking in your life.
Yeah.
That's heaven to me.
Yeah.
What you consider a bad day, consider great. But what I was gonna say earlier is, you said something I couldn't remember. But do you think a poor person know they poor? You don't know you poor until a rich person come around.
Right.
So we don't know
Right.
the circumstances we in. We don't know the lifestyle we living is crazy.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right. But I will
So
tell
when
you.
this is normal,
Yeah.
when everybody's living like this,
Yeah.
you don't mind not opening up your refrigerator 5 times. We knowing ain't nothing in there. We starving.
Yeah.
Open up the refrigerator, ain't nothing in there.
Yeah.
So who's gonna tell me not to go steal? Because I'm tired of my mama saying, you ain't had to steal. All you had to do was ask me. Well, I ask you all the time. You tell me you ain't got it. So
Yeah.
I do have to steal. I do have to sell crack.
Yeah.
I do have to do these things.
Yeah.
But as soon as I get in trouble, everybody want to act like they will help us.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that maybe another time we try to get into more because
Got about 3 minutes.
yeah, exactly. And I hear what you're saying on that. There is still a concept though where there seems to be a number of examples of individuals that have decided not to go that route and instead figure out, and I don't know where the delineation is, I don't know where the divide is, right? But it's like, no, they decided they didn't have to steal, and somehow, right, they get connected with a church or somewhere else, and they end up having life go a completely different way. And that's probably whether environment and other things, right? There's all these social aspects, and I know on Wednesdays, I'm sure it still gets heated at the community meetings on the different camps, having those conversations. But it's like at some point, where is the line of, hey, you know, we can't make decisions for ourselves when these factors are afflicting us, versus, man, we do have personal responsibility to make decisions. How can we help individuals see there's other decisions to make?
I got
Right,
an
you know.
ideology on that.
Yeah.
I feel like we all felons, just some being convicted. You cannot tell me you ain't never broke a law.
Mm-hmm.
We all done something wrong.
Sure.
That's why I hate the system. Because if you're gonna make a person do 15 years in penitentiary, why do I have to put that on the application? Why do I have to get rejudged for what I already been judged for?
Sure.
Why do I have to let my neighbors know I'm a convicted felon? He did the time. Well, don't give them no time then. If they gotta live with that for the rest of their life, don't lock them up.
Right. Which that experiment's gone horribly wrong in a lot of communities, I think, according to news reports that we could read. Yes, that is a great topic, and I think with more than a minute and a half left, we should probably dive in.
Yeah.
Because I do have some really interesting thoughts. So I'll just tell you this: I had to walk through the last. I didn't have to. I walked through the last few years. Someone who I consider to be a close friend, who I met through Pastor King, who got caught up in the federal system, and I was shocked at how easy it is for someone to get completely run over by the federal system. And I always knew it was bad, but seeing it with someone that you care about, it is really stark how nobody, unless they have incredible wealth and can afford $50,000 to $150,000 in lawyers, right? Nobody has a chance if the federal government has decided you are going.
It's not just the
away.
feds, the state to do the same
Well,
thing.
but there's levels.
No, you actually could get a break in the feds. The feds go off a point system. The state could throw you away.
Okay, man, I wish we had 3 more hours. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is almost up. For part 3, we'll conclude with part 3. For those of you that are watching, hoping that we get to the solution part of some of the things that we're saying. Hopefully next week we'll deal with some of the solutions. But my heart is full here. But moms, parents, if you're watching this and you're feeling that hopelessness with your kids, there are solutions for it, and we're going to dive into that a little bit next week. For Real Talk, I'm Ed, this is Eric, and this is Milagro. Thank you for watching. And until next week, remember, we walk by faith, not by sight.